How much thought do you put into getting into your car, driving across town, and then later returning home? The next day on your way to work, you put fuel in your vehicle. But have you ever really thought about what effort is put into that fuel? It goes all the way up to the flagpole. That's right, it goes to the Commander-in-Chief's desk at the White House. Hello, my name is Jeremy Perry. I'm going to be talking to you all about President Trump's policy change on ethanol and biofuels. The topics I will be covering are: number 1, the failed management and oversight of biofuels. Number 2, President Trump's policy change. Number 3, what the EPA should be doing to protect us and the environment. So just this past week, there was a big meeting held with Trump and the GOP with the intent of overhauling the ethanol mandate. The problem, according to John Siciliano and John Siegel of the Washington Examiner, is a renewable fuel standard, or RFS. According to reports from several news agencies, the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, has been undercutting the program in favor of oil refiners. It was stated in the Washington Examiner that the undercuts were directed at the demand for biofuels by employing secretive waivers. This undercut directed farm income to fuel oil companies during the worst agricultural crisis since the 1980s. The demand, seen by those in attendance, asked that President Trump put his foot down and hold the EPA responsible, and force them to follow the same standards and guidelines they so preach. Now, not only was the EPA undercutting the ethanol business, according to Jazz Shaw of HotAir.com, states that the EPA admits to never studying the effects of ethanol as required by law. In this article, dated August 19th of 2016, Jazz goes on to talk about the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007, which establishes thorough guidelines for blending ethanol and the oversight by the EPA, which was to be reported every 3 years to Congress. Having talked a little about the current issue at hand, let's talk a little about what brought this to light. On 9 May 2018, the White House concluded the final meeting on the renewable fuel standard and the future of the biofuel industry, according to thepixsite.com. From this meeting, they concluded that E15 ethanol would be allowed year-round use as opposed to the previous guidelines. The National Farmers Union President Roger Johnson said that, quote, "While there are certainly positives coming out of this, there are several major potential pitfalls that will need to be mitigated," end quote. In this meeting, other changes were also agreed upon, such as a limit on RFS hardship waivers being handed out to refiners and the possibility that credits could be applied to exports of renewable fuel. Now, one group headed by former Energy Department Transition Chief Tom Pyle went as far as to launch an ad campaign to convince Congress to repeal the program. A letter signed by the group Sierra Club and the Conservative National Taxpayer Union said that allowing the fuel would only benefit a small subset of the economy, while negatively impacting many more. Now that you are aware of what has been going on, here are some things that can be done to improve the current state. First off, the EPA needs to pull their heads out of their butts. They have guidelines and responsibilities that they are to follow to ensure the safety of the environment and for all of us. With any policy change, there will always be rebuttal. Also, with any change, there will be a certain number of damages/shortcomings until things balance out. There needs to be a more balanced way of meeting the needs as much as possible of all parties involved. Now, I'm aware that it is almost impossible to please everyone, but that doesn't go to say that we can't look at an alternative that can be agreeable between all parties involved. According to a Reuters article dated May 11th of 2018, the Trump administration will scale back the use of biofuel waivers and count ethanol exports toward federal biofuel usage quotas. These changes were aimed at easing the tensions between the oil and corn industries. Now, in closing, we have talked about the current issues, possible causes, and the intended solutions to biofuel mandates. Now, as long as there are oil and corn fuels and people that require fuel, there is likely to be controversy. In the end, the best option is to find a way that they can coexist and both parties have a profitable business while keeping the good nature of the environment in mind. My name is Jeremy Perry. This is public speaking, and this concludes my speech. Thank you.